Trucks would you like to meet?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Unpopular Review. And we have a special right here, folks. Top 5 Bret Hart matches. It is I, the Grand Poobah, joined with Kane Vaughn, and a special appearance by the incredible Willie Beeman. And you're going to hear our top 5 after the intro.
Yo. I feel like such a piece of shit because that's the first time I've seen that new entrance video for the show. So I feel like such a piece of shit. But what's going on, UPR universe? This your man Steaming Willie Beeman. You got your man Grand Poobah up there, and you got your man King Vaughn Jr. over there. And we ain't talking about, Dirk brother. We not talking about him. We talking about the Vaughn of wrestling. You know, I'm talking about what's going on, y'all. And today we bringing y'all UPR's top 5 Bret Hart matches. I'm pretty sure we gonna have some
This is why you got to leave the intro to me, guys. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Unpopular Review. Top 5 special. I'm the Grand Poobah, King Vaughn Jr., and we got the frozen Willie Beeman. And King Vaughn, we did a show one time together. We did UPR battles. That was the only time we worked together. I'm still dismayed at your choice, but I have chosen to forgive you because God said, move on and turn the other cheek. And I have turned the other cheek. But King Vaughn, one thing I know about you is that you are a Bret Hart fan. You are a fan of the Hitman, same as me. Real quick, I do have to sit here and say, I don't get into wrestling unless it's Bret Hart. So when they came up with a top 5 and they said Bret Hart matches, I was like, oh boy, he really have a great catalog of matches. And I felt like it was hard because there's certain matches I wanted to put on, and then I was like, but I kind of like this match because of reasons. So I can't wait to hear your list. Let's bring him back in. Let's bring in the Giant Orange, Steaming Willie Beeman. Yes, the Dancing Orange. There we go. Why don't we kick off with you? Why don't we kick it off with you because we don't know the severity of your
How long
incident.
my internet's gonna last? So we're gonna kick off with me. Thank you, buddy. Um, one one of my top 5 Bret Hart matches, and it's not even about how good the match was or whatever the case may be. It's more so what that match did for the other wrestler that he was going against. And so my number 5 top 5 Bret match is him and Stone Cold. I forgot where it was where Stone Cold was bleeding out and he passed out.
WrestleMania 13.
Yep.
Yeah. That's one of my top 5 matches. One, because of to find out that Bret is the one who came up with the whole bleeding thing, and that's how the match should end. That was one thing, and what it did for Stone Cold's career, and even taking Bret from being the cookie cutter champion that everybody loved, well, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be, you know. So for that and what it did for Stone Cold's career, and that was one of the prominent views of the Attitude Era, and kicking off the era. Hey, Charmaine. So that's my that's one of the reasons that's in my top 5 of Bret the Hitman Hart matches, because not only it signified his love for the business, his understanding of the business, understanding that sometimes he's not going to always get to be the $500 champion, and that wrestling was going in a new direction, and for him to, go with that and kind of sign off. It showed his love for the business. It showed his love for other talent. It showed his love for not feeling like, oh, I got to be the champion for this company to run. And so that's my number 5.
Well, that was such a long-winded answer and great one. I mean, I think that match is actually really great. And I feel like we're going to be talking about that a little bit later. But King Vaughn, take the floor. What is your number 5 Bret Hart match?
All right, my number 5 Bret Hart match would probably be a little bit higher on other people's list, but I'm going to go with the opening match of WrestleMania 10.
Ooh!
And the reason, and for much of the same reasons, similar to the reasons that Willie used, in the sense that Bret found a way to elevate. She's talking about elevating talent. He elevated his younger brother because let's be honest, RIP to Owen, But let's be real. Before he got involved in a storyline with his brother Bret, like Owen was doing tag
The Blue
matches.
Blazer with Coco Beware.
He was doing Blue Blazer and Coco Beware and stuff like that. So some people want to try to argue for Owen, but the truth is, if it wasn't for Bret, Owen wouldn't have elevated the way that he did. And so Bret was being selfless in that sense, in terms of putting his family on, much like how we talk about how Roman does. Bret was doing that first, and that has to be considered to be by many to be the greatest opening match in WrestleMania history.
I agree.
And just the story that they told and things like that. And so, like I said, like the thing is, Bret was able to win even in a loss because he ended up getting the last laugh at the end of the night. So that's my number 5 match, WrestleMania 10 versus Owen.
I gotta say, you guys picked some really good matches. I don't know what's going on the bottom, but yeah, I picked some really.
Hold on, before I don't want to interrupt you.
But you did. But go ahead.
Mike Ace Perlman, please don't be mad at me. The executive asshole, please don't be mad at me, because I did say I would accept this assignment of being stationary and everything. My internet ain't gone out or none of that, but I don't feel like fucking staying at work, man. So look, y'all, my environment is gonna be changing in the background, but I'm still locked in and I'm tuned in, and I don't want to take away from the quality of the show at all, guys. But I gotta get the fuck out this building.
Okay. And I'll carry on. We'll continue to carry the show. Thank you for being here, Orange. Shout out to Crazy Joe. He is he's my Diesel to my Shawn Michaels is great, but I'm always going to pick Bret. So he's the Diesel to my Bret Hart. Wow. But you guys, great opening list. So my number 5, I knew my list would be a little different, and I was even sitting there thinking, man, a lot of people are probably going to look at, oh, you didn't include this, you didn't include that, but it's my top 5, guys. So I'm going to go with, I love what you guys were saying. You guys were talking about elevation. And that's what Bret Hart does. I mean, he was very selfless when he was in the ring. He wanted to help the talent. He believed in the brand. Yeah, did he take wrestling way too serious? Yeah, and I kind of wish some people did because he really took it serious. So my number 5, I'm going to go with Bret Hart against 1-2-3 Kid on Raw. I think this helped out. That's helped out 1-2-3 Kid a lot. He was building some momentum. And going in the ring with someone as technical as Bret, I think it really helped out a lot. And also, too, for me personally, I do like the little guy against the big. Sometimes don't even have to be big, because Bret wasn't a super big dude, but he was a technical prowess genius. So I did enjoy this match. I enjoyed that Bret got a win. I forgot what happened. I think he pinned him, and the ref didn't see it, and they had to restart the match. It wasn't nothing like super special, but it was special to me because of what he did for 1-2-3 Kid, who was on the coming up.
Yes, right.
That was my number 5.
Yeah, I think that match actually ended with Bret catching him with a sharpshooter.
Yeah, he did.
Afterwards. Yeah, so yeah. In fact, I did an episode about like last July for Bret's birthday, right? Mm-hmm. So I came up with my top 10 Bret Hart matches, and that was
Bret Hart is a cancer, right?
July 2nd, yeah.
And my July 5th, yeah.
That's my dad's birthday, actually. That's funny. That's hilarious.
There we go.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, so like I said, like that's definitely top 10 material. So, but hey, that's a testament to Bret's greatness.
Yes. So why don't we kick it off with apparently he's in the bathroom now. What is your number 4?
Hold on. First of all, I'm a high school janitor. Don't play with me. I'm at work. But my number 4 match is, of course, Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect. And this
good choice.
This is when we got that Bret was being catapulted to like the main event picture. He was becoming more of a star. He had been away from the tag team thing for a little while. Continental belt. We don't know what the Intercontinental belt used to mean. Like, you were on your way to being that guy. And so for that trust to be put on Bret after the Hulk Hogan and all this and all, he stepped into the mark or the smart wrestling and holds technique and ring psychology. So what we got to understand, it's not all about the big money, man. It's about the guy who's performing and giving us what we didn't know was 5-star back then, but putting on a rap percentage. So with that being said, I will get my number 4 match. is Bret Hart versus Mr. Continental title.
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam,
SummerSlam 91.
Okay, like I said, I just so that's my number 4.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
What's your number 4, King Von?
My number 4 is actually another SummerSlam match. Not so much that one, but another match with his brother. SummerSlam 94 for the WWF Championship, the steel cage match.
That was a good one.
Reason why I'm going with that one is because it's the one where Bret got the W. So I prefer Bret getting the W over his brother versus the other way around. So, and plus it was a great match. The family ended up getting involved later, but like I said, it's my number 4, Bret versus Owens, SummerSlam 94.
It's funny because that cage match was actually really hilarious. Bret gets the win. Then Jim Neidhart helps Owen. And they just, like, the family's trying to climb through the cage. And every time they run through the cage, everyone's falling. British Bulldog was knocked out for, like, I feel like it probably was less, but it felt like it was like 10, 15 minutes. Eventually he gets in the ring and he helped.
3 minutes, probably. It felt something like 4 minutes.
It felt so long because it was like, dude, help. They need your help. And the after interview with Owen, because they had a special on, I think it was the network Peacock, I forget which one. And you see Owen, he said, "Let's go celebrate my victory with Jim Neidhart." And I'm like, you lost. What are you talking about? And I think
enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Owen was great. One of the things I sit here and say he always had over Bret was personality. I would always pick Bret because I'm a fan of in-ring technician, like that's the stuff I like. But Owen definitely, especially as I've gotten older, I was like, Owen was just a gem, and it is a shame that we lost him so early. Like it's really such a shame because he could have been such a help in wrestling, like character wise. I mean, in ring stuff as well, definitely. But
Owen right now helping with NXT, like
Sean
Page.
Yeah, Owen would have been great with NXT.
Like
I agree to that.
To find out it was Owen's idea when Generation X did their little party of the nation. Like,
I never knew that. Wow.
Guy who found the guy. Like, it wasn't Triple H or nothing. Like, it was Owen. And so that's dope. The fact that you found out that Owen was in the back, like crying and laughing before he came out and had to act like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit, like if Owen Hart was still there and he was being able to help with the developmental part of it, it'd be amazing.
Oh yeah,
I agree to that.
He was incredible with NXT, and not only that, but even later in his career, can you imagine Owen Hart versus Chris Jericho?
Oh my God, there was a thing that you shared. I think there was a thing you shared on Twitter, and it was a thing.
Hart, brother, the last person trained in the Hart dungeon.
That's right.
Jericho. There was a thing that you shared, and I thought it was a match that I was like, man, that would have been so great. Kurt Angle, it was like, I guess his debut was a dark match against Owen Hart, and it was like, man, that would have been great because Kurt Angle ended up being, I mean, look at his career, right?
Right.
But let me go into my number 4 real quick. Number 4, I mean, I don't even have to say Bret Hart because everyone knows Bret Hart is involved in this, but I'm gonna go back in time. Let me okay, I want to make sure I have it. Okay. Let's go WrestleMania 8. Bret Hart against Roddy Piper. I thought this picture was full size, but it's not. I thought this match was great. I mean, I don't know Roddy Piper to be like a really great in-ring worker. He's one of the greatest of all time, sure. But I thought Bret pulled out a really great match out of him. The story that they were telling. Roddy's coming out there as the Intercontinental Champion. I don't know what part in the match, but then Bret starts bleeding during the match. And Bret is just like, he's still fighting through because he's that baby face, right? And the spot where, and I'm a big fan of spots. The spot where he hits the sleeper. Matter of fact, the story was, is Roddy going to cheat? He doesn't cheat. And when he goes and it looks like he's going to get the win because he has the sleeper, he's putting away a lot of people with the sleeper. Bret finds a way, goes in the corner, flips over, and I love that finish. I mean, it's something that people still do today. If you look at, there was an NXT match, Samoa Joe against Finn Balor. Finn Balor beat Samoa Joe just the same way. And that's to me, it's such a great finish. And he did it again against Stone Cold when he hit the $1 Million Dream or the thing on him and he hit him. So I really like that match. Bret wins. He wins the Intercontinental Championship. That was such a really great match.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing about it, with that finish, Rock, he didn't use it. He didn't win it, but he did use that same
Oh, my
tactic against Austin, and what was I think it was WrestleMania 17.
Mhm.
You know, Austin did the $1 million dream.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
so Bret is an innovator in that
Yeah.
sense.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, so I can see that. And plus, I think the spot where Bret started bleeding, got busted open, was like, I know there's a spot where like Piper was kicking him, and I guess it was after a Bulldog, and he kicked him pretty hard, and yeah, it's a pretty good top 5.
Thank you.
But yeah. So
yes, the King did face Bret Hart.
yeah, exactly.
He did. We got higher guys. I heard that, but he did. He passed away yesterday, I believe.
Yesterday, in fact, last night, at the end of my podcast episode, superstar Billy Graham passed away, and so like last night, just as I was recording, the news broke.
Right.
And so I was like, and this was at the very near the end of the episode, and all of a sudden, we got hit with that. But yeah, like I said, Bret, was an innovator, and I think pound for pound in terms of Piper's greatest like pure wrestling matches, that's the best one I've ever seen him have, and that says a lot considering Piper's career.
Absolutely. Willie, why don't you take number 3?
Yeah, this is hilarious.
Yeah, I'm just tickled.
Yeah, so me too.
First of all, my number 3 is I'm going with Bret versus Bob Backlund. And I'm going with 3. That's my number 3 because that introduced us into a legend. Bret allowed him to get the belt because before that happened, I didn't know who the fuck Bob Backlund was. So, with that alone and what it did for the reignite Bob Backlund career a little bit, I'm giving Bob Backlund and Bret Hart my number 3.
Wow. Yeah, Mike's saying for you to take you off there, but whatever. That's hilarious. But yeah, so as far as so my number 3 Bret Hart match, I will go with the legendary SummerSlam '92 Intercontinental title match. Hey, Charmaine. My number 3 Bret Hart match would be SummerSlam '92 versus British Bulldog.
Oh,
over 80,000 people, and so usually for a lot of people that's like their number 1. But yeah, like I said, the thing about it, you talk about putting people over. This was Bret making the transition directly to the main event, and so what better way to get the title get the title taken off than to lose to your brother-in-law. And the way that Bret carried that match with the story that we know about Davy Boy, for Bret to do what he did, that's a testament of his greatness. And Davy was in the match of his career, of his life.
Yeah.
And for Bret to carry it and make a miracle out of it. In fact, and especially with the stories, about yes, no problem. But yeah, like especially with the stories that Bret was talking about, how he would whisper in Davy's ear, talking about pretty much like listen to me, I'll carry you. And the way that match played out was brilliant. So I would say that's still my number 1 SummerSlam match, period. So so SummerSlam '92 versus Bulldog at Wembley. That's my number 3.
Honestly, I do have to sit here and say, like, that was a match that I really wanted to put on my list, and it's a really great match. Like, I think it's honorable mentions for me because it was really great. Matter of fact, what was I going to say? I remember the first time I saw that match. I didn't watch that match live. That came out 92, 90.
Yeah, I was only 3, but it was later on.
Exactly. I remember watching because they used to have the Saturday night show on WWE. It was like Confidential and like that kind of thing. And they played the match. Yeah. And I remember being, because from when I was watching, it was the first time I watched it. So I said, I'm cheering on Bret because Bret is my guy. So when he lost, I said, oh, that sucks. But as I've gotten older, I appreciate the story that they were telling. And like you mentioned, the story, and the story, British Bulldog came into that match in a way. And Bret was like, oh, I see my work is put out there for me. But that's a great number 3. We're on number 3 here. Guys, you are watching Unpopular Review. This is a special top 5. So if you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like, give us a share. If you're on the Twitter, share us there on there. Twitch, hey, what's going on there on Twitch? How you doing? So yeah, this is the top 5. It's fun. We're talking about my favorite wrestler of all time, Bret the Hitman Hart. I mean, I don't want to be I don't want to brag, but I got to meet the man 2 weeks ago, and it was a highlight. Thank you. And it was such a highlight. He was such a gracious guy, unlike Bill Goldberg. When I saw him, I do want to sit here and tell a quick story. I stood on that line for like 2-3 hours, and when I met him, it was real quick. But I want to credit him because the deadline was, I got there maybe around 12 or 1, and the deadline was 4. They were getting ready to close down, but he stayed there to sign everyone's stuff, take pictures, and that's something that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life. So I'm glad that we're doing a top 5 on the Hitman because he deserved the flowers. And if you don't think he deserved the flowers, well, you can look Pavement. But my number 3 here is going to be I saw this match just recently. I forgot how long ago. But my number 3 is going to be Bret Hart against Razor Ramon. And what I liked about this match was look at the size difference, right? Razor's a pretty big guy. RIP to the bad guy, the original bad guy. And I love the creativity. Bret, he knows how to take an ass whooping. He'll go in the ring, you'll throw him around, he knows how to make it look like wow, this guy don't stand a chance. But what I liked was at the end, he's breaking down Razor Ramon. He's chopping down that giant tree. And the way he goes for the sharpshooter was so innovative. It's like he's on the floor, then he turns around, and then he adjusts his body. And I love that kind of creativity where he had to find another way to beat this guy. If I can also talk about another match, I didn't make my top 5, but some matches that he didn't always beat people with the sharpshooter. A lot of times he would go for the victory roll, which is I don't think I see that move enough anymore. I think it should be brought back.
Yeah, that's a great choice. In fact, I want to say that was in my honorable mention. I know it's in my honorable mention. I think that was like in my top 10 when I first did my list.
Mm-hmm.
But like I like Bret's jacket. Actually I got the chalk line jacket from from the chalk line jacket that was based that the jacket was based off of. I was like,
right.
So it was on sale. I was like, that, let me get it. But the thing is, speaking of matches where Bret, in fact, the 1993 King of the Ring, Bret won every match without using the sharpshooter. Every single match that he won, from Perfect, Bam Bam, Razor, all of them won without it. So so for people to think that if you take away the sharpshooter, Bret's nothing, that's a lie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's something, and it took me a while as I've gotten older to realize he just always found a different way. And I think that's so great where it's like, how someone, like how you mentioned, there's people who depend on their moves. And he's like, no, I'll find a different way. So, yeah, I'm glad that you pointed that out, King of the Ring. And it looked like it's just going to be me and you, King Von. So why don't we jump into number 2. What is your number 2 Bret the Hitman Hart match?
All right. This may seem a little polarizing to some.
Oh,
but hang on. I got it.
There we go.
Because of its significant in terms of like sort of paving the way.
Yes.
In regards to like matches that are clinics, I would go with and because of who his arch rival is. Spoiler alert, it's going to include his greatest dance partner. I got to go with WrestleMania 12, Shawn Michaels, the Iron Man match.
Oh, okay, all right.
I had to pull, kind of pull the Joker and go with that, just because it wouldn't feel like a Bret Hart list without a match like this, especially when it comes to his arch rival, his dance partner, the guy that's the Green Goblin to his Spider-Man, if you will. You know what I mean? So like as far as that, the Joker to his Batman. So that's very critical when it comes to Bret's catalog as well as HBK's catalog.
Okay, so when you said that, right, you said like who's the Green Goblin between the two? Shawn Michaels?
Shawn Michaels in this analogy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In fact, Shawn said it himself. I remember when Bret first came back in 2010 and him and HBK had reconciled. And so Shawn was using examples. He was saying, or at least like either it was 2010 or like the little special Canada episode in 2013 when it was honoring Bret. And so Shawn was saying, that I've been your greatest rival. He was saying like something like, I'm the Joker to your Batman, I'm the Green Goblin to your Spider-Man. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? So in that sense, when it comes to just dance partners that are like eternally linked, you know what I mean? So you can't talk about Bret's greatest matches without mentioning Shawn Michaels, because you cannot tell Bret's story without him. You can't tell Shawn's story without Bret's, vice versa. So that's the reason why I have that on my list.
No, and there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people, you know, like because there's been so many different Iron Man matches where they're like, that Iron Man match had been surpassed, but I know we're just talking about top 5 Bret, but that was a favor of yours then. So
right.
What was something? So you loved. What was? I mean, I want you to dig a little bit more deeper when you say like, "Oh, I like this match." So what was it? Was it the ending? What made you such?
I think mainly with with the ending, especially considering the fact that Bret had that sharpshooter and like all the way up until by the time the clock rolled, like clock ran out, and then they started going into sudden death overtime. But it's just that like the fact that that Bret stuck to his guns in terms of his arsenal, in terms of his repertoire, and so and just the fact that this match carries so much weight, and just how it was innovative for its time. That's the reason why.
And it's funny because at the end, when you talk about like it was a draw and Bret's leaving, and they said we're gonna have a sudden death. Bret makes me laugh when Bret says, "Why?
Why?
He says, "Why?
Like why? He never pinned.
I never lost.
Exactly. I didn't.
He's like, I never lost. Why am I giving this guy a rematch? So
but it was off against Shawn over, and plus because it was like one of Shawn's major Mr. WrestleMania matches or moments, because back-to-back years Shawn was catching L's, and so this was something something to elevate him, even though we know the story how Bret tried to do that and Shawn was very ungrateful, that type of thing. So
Shawn was in a good place. Yes.
Yeah, he was not. He was in a terrible place. He's the first to say it.
He will be the first. Yeah.
Yeah. So so the thing is, Bret did the honors, and and passed the torch. Is because it was business, and so
he's Bret, and that's the thing about Bret Hart. He's not a selfish person. I feel like when people talk and they talk about the Montreal Screwjob and stuff like that, and I don't want to go too deep into Tyrant or whatever, but it's like Bret was really not selfish. He was willing to drop the title the next night. He just didn't want to do it to Shawn because Shawn wasn't willing. He said, when said, I wish I could say I could do the same for you, I would be turned off by that too. I'd be like, I don't want to work with this guy. Like, this guy's a jerk. So
he's telling you who he is right in your face. And in fact, even Undertaker offered to get the belt from Bret and then transition to Shawn himself. So
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think people just have to know that side of the story, because everyone just goes like Shawn, and this is not even a knock on Shawn and whatnot. But Shawn was a dick once upon a time. But the man is Bret is still fuming over DJ. Yes, he is. And you know what? Honestly, as a content creator, it is great stuff. Listen, it makes me laugh, but I also sit here and go, I think he has all the right in the world. Goldberg was dangerous. He was reckless. And I think I would still hold a grudge too.
And also and since we're going to go on to number one.
Let me get to my number 2 real quick. I'm sorry, I went to a Tyrant, so let me go into my number 2 real quick here. Number 2, and then let's get into Mike's. My number 2 is, y'all already mentioned it. Whirly, when he was here, the Giant Orange was here. He mentioned Bret Hart against Stone Cold Steve Austin. This match made Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, the way Bret Hart, and one of the things that I love about Bret Hart is how he structured a match. He sat here, he figured out how to. I remember listening to when Edge and Christian had a podcast once upon a time ago, and they talked about the spots that they were going for and what they were doing. And there was a spot where I think Austin messed up. I think he hit him with the ring bell, and the timing was off or something. I forget what it was. But this match did so much for Stone Cold Steve Austin, more Stone Cold than Bret Hart. And the imagery of Stone Cold being in the sharpshooter, busted open. I mean, it's so iconic. That was on shirts for years, right? So this match was great. Bret Hart knew what he was doing. And that double turn, too. I think this was the first double turn.
It was.
So to have that happen Stone Cold came in as the heel, Bret was the baby, and then after that, Bret was flipping off the fans because the fans are fickle.
Dan Brown was right.
Yeah, they deserved the middle finger. They deserved to eat. I don't know. I just want to throw out here, Rocky Road is a terrible flavor, so they deserve to have Rocky Road.
That's right.
So we're gonna jump into our number one, but real quick, Mike Knox couldn't be here, but he had a list, and I want to give a shout out to Michael J. Knox. Yeah, see,
Michael J. Knox, that's right.
Michael J. Knox. That's correct. We're going to get that over somehow. For his number 5,
it was the ring barrier that busted Austin open. That's what it was. I remember that. Yeah, it was.
We have his for his number 5. He have King of the Ring, Bret Hart against Mr. Perfect. I'm going to be quite frank. I didn't realize Mr. Perfect was that much taller than Bret. Looking at this picture, I didn't realize that.
Bret's like 6'6'1".
Oh, I didn't realize Kurt Angle was that big. I mean, Kurt Angle. I'm sorry. Mr. Perfect. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's Kurt in there. I'm sorry, folks. His number 4 for Mike Knox. He have WrestleMania 10. He have Bret Hart against Owen. That's a great match. Great choice by the Knoxster. His number 3. He has apparently Bret Hart and Chris Benoit just fighting in space.
that was the other Owen
WCW. Yes, I remember that.
Owen tribute match. Yeah, so.
WCW Nitro. Yep. Mm-hmm. But it looked like they're in space, just floating. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, because Benoit's redacted. That's why.
So they took the ring away. I get it.
Much, yeah.
Mike Knox, number 2. He's pretty much on board with you. The Iron Man match, Bret Hart against Shawn Michaels, and for Mike Knox, number 1, Stone Cold against Bret Hart. These are great choices by Mike Knox. Good job. I know he would love to be here, but he'll probably be here for the next top 5. So shout out to Mike Knox. We're kind of the Road Warriors, but we broke up because he's betrayed me, and he turned heel on me. But before we get into our number 1s, let's see what these comments are looking like. Over what we got. Over one kick, though. One kick that really took his career. Now, listen, I'll sit here and say this, DJ. Now, I do believe it's been years. Bret should have moved on and stuff like that. I do agree to that. But that kick, I mean, he literally kicked him as hard as he could. So I'm on the point of Bret should move on. But I'm also sitting there saying I do this. I had to give you the shoulder block. You should be here for a top 5, DJ. And then he stole my list. That's mine.
That is on my mic.
But you're not DJ. You're King. King Von, what is your number 1 Bret the Hitman Hart match?
Number 1 is the one that I picked even before a new Mike and DJ even had a list. And it's the same one, WrestleMania 13 versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because if you look at the other 4 matches I had on my list, you think I was going to go a whole list without having that one? I was saving the best for last.
Ooh.
And so as much to talk about the Shawn Michaels thing, that Stone Cold match is top 2, if not number 1. I think that's the consensus for real in terms of that Austin match because of what it did for Austin. We talk about Bret, giving back and things like that, and that was a perfect way to give back, even without a title on the line. That was one of the best feuds that was not surrounding the championship. The title wasn't the focal point. And so the thing is, with the way that Bret helped take Austin to a whole nother level, because the thing is, after the 96 King of the Ring, Stone Cold needed to have somebody that was going to further solidify him and legitimize him in terms of going to the main event spot. So who better to call out than Bret himself? Bret was already Hall of Fame level.
It was established.
You know what I mean? He was already well established, a legend by that point already. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So in terms of that, and obviously the Crimson Mask that Austin had, which is iconic. I loved how I was able to recreate that in WWE 2K14 Road to WrestleMania. And so, like I said, and just the way that that elevated Austin, and of course double turn. And so like I said, in fact, Bret speaks highly of Austin for a long time. Austin speaks highly of him. So in that match, even though they had a great Survivor Series match, this one took it to a whole nother level. You know what I mean? So it's like Avengers 1. I'm skipping Age of Ultron, and then WrestleMania 13 is Infinity War. It's like it's like you have episode 4 on in Survivor Series, and the Empire Strikes Back is WrestleMania 13.
You know, to be fair, Age of Ultron is really not a bad movie, but it is the week of the Avenger movies because
So
the first
the
yeah,
point is, if I you know what I mean, like just using that.
I get it.
As far as a major upgrade. So so that's how I see it. So like I said, it was not a double turn in Mania. I think Knox exec EC was saying that it might the double turn might have been the night after, but the thing is,
that night they were booing Bret. They were booing Bret because Bret started sticking them. Now, granted, it might have been more the next night.
It was more the next night.
Okay,
more the next night. But the thing is with the way that it further legitimized Austin and accelerated. Fans don't make stories. Okay, Age of Ultron.
Is it?
But the point I'm making is that when you talk about upgrade in terms of what's the pinnacle of their feud, WrestleMania 13 is the pinnacle. Same way I said Infinity War is the pinnacle of the Avengers movies. So I'm looking at what's the stuff that's like all right. So if you want to say this one maybe Winter Soldier or something, but the thing is, if you're looking at what's the most notable, like the biggest highlight of everything, like when you talk about Bret versus Austin, the first match that people want to point out is WrestleMania 13.
Yeah, we will. And you know something too, because their Survivor Series match was really good.
It was great.
It was really, really good. But they do lean on this more, which is not bad. It's not bad because you do want the sequel to be better than the first. So great list, King Von. King Von, I do want to sit here and say real quick, thank you for being here. You stayed through the whole show. Let's get in. So I'm gonna go for my number one. I think me, you, and Steaming, because he had a pretty solid list. I would have loved to hear more of what his list was. So for my number one, I'm going to go with. I just want to look this up real quick. There we go. I mean, you guys said it, and I was like, damn.
Wow.
But Bret against Owen. I mean, something that you were saying earlier that made me realize, like, yeah, Bret is really selfless. Like, he doesn't even really. He obviously, he protects himself. But if he likes you, he will make sure that you will be talked about for the for years to come. And this match, you mentioned it, one of the best WrestleMania openers. If we had a top 5 WrestleMania opener, I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll get to that at some point. Spoiler, that would be on my list. These guys went out there, and it's funny because they already had a match already structured prior, and Owen was going to do all this high flying stuff. And Bret said, yeah, they're going to cheer for you if you do that. So how about we do this? And sure enough, the match was just, so well done, right? That FTR recreated that match in one of the tournaments that they had in AEW. It's such a great, I have a older nephew, and I was telling him, like, man, like I was telling him how much I love this match and everything. And one of the things I loved was the sudden finish. Bret has beaten plenty of people with that victory roll. I know I mentioned that earlier, but for Owen to scout it and stop him midway, and you hear 1, 2, 3, and you see Bret even confused because he has never been. That's never happened,
right?
And to see Owen, and Owen had his moment in the sun. It's such good shit.
All right, Vince, Firefly Funhouse. Yeah, so so as far as that, many of these matches, we talk about like, thank you very much, appreciate that. We talk about some of the greatest, like I say, when it comes like when it comes like the greatest matches, period, in the history of wrestling. A lot of those matches have Bret Hart's name on it.
They do.
If it like I said, if it's not Shawn Michaels, if it's not The Undertaker for what it's worth in terms of his WrestleMania impact. You throw Flair in there, as well. Many of those matches, like throwing whoever, Kurt Angle especially, like in terms of, in-ring technicians, entertainers and things like that. A lot of those greatest matches in terms of history have Bret's name on it as well.
Oh yeah.
So because the thing is, the fact that it's so tough for us to come up with a top 5. We have so many different top 5s.
Yep.
That's a testament to Bret Hart's greatness, period.
Oh, absolutely.
Anytime you could, anytime, and like I said, I'm not gonna hold things up. I know we can really finish up quickly, but the thing about it is that anytime you have a show like this, and it's so hard to decide.
Right.
To me, that's a testament of what type of impact, what type of mark, that said wrestler left in terms of the skill, in terms of quality of matches in and of itself. You know what I mean? So Bret's catalog is like looking for, a greatest albums catalog.
It is.
Like looking for Prince's, your favorite Prince album.
I couldn't answer that one because I'm more of a Michael Jackson person, but I understand what you mean because I was going to use Michael as an example.
Right.
I saw someone on Twitter saying, "Hey, beside Man in the Mirror, what song?" And I named like 3 or 4 songs, and I was like, "Yeah, this." Yeah. With Bret Hart, when it came to this, because he has so many great matches, and I know most of these were WWE because WCW. I was a WCW kid growing up, but WCW really messed up with him. But finding matches, and even when you mentioned Ric Flair against Bret Hart, I was like, and that was such a significant match because that's when he won the WWF Championship, if I could say F. So there's so many different matches, and we want to hear your guys' top 5 Bret Hart matches. This guy is great. Give this man his flowers. The pink and black attack, the heart attack. This guy is tremendous, and we want to hear your list. So if you're watching this live, we say thank you for watching. If you're watching this on the replay, we say thank you too. Right in the comments. So like, love, and share. We are Unpopular Review. You can follow us on all social media platforms. We are on Facebook if you're still on there. Instagram, we are there. We're on Twitter. We are on Twitch. And subscribe to us. Hit that like button so you can know when we go on the air, so you can know. And there's also a link for entertainment. I've heard I'm hearing something through my headset that there might be a fast. What number is this? Fast 99?
Fast 10.
Oh, okay. Fast forever. Fast 10. They're going to do a review this weekend, so you guys should tune into that on the entertainment side. King Von, before we go, because I know you have a podcast, you should promote that. What is your podcast, sir? Okay,
let me go and plug that in. It's called the Victorious Ones Podcast. In fact, this show it's got variety. Whether it's wrestling, comics, sports, movie reviews, you name it. And so because the thing is, last year I did a Bret Hart episode as well. So top 10 Bret Hart matches. Last night I had an episode with the Jobber Tears.
Ooh.
So yeah, exactly. So shout out to the label. Thanks for stopping through. But yeah, so as far as that, like I said, it was an honor, it was a pleasure to be on, to be on here and talk about Bret's greatness. And also always remember, July 2nd is official National Bret Hart Day, and reason why, you all know, that is the day to celebrate because that's his birthday. July 2nd, Bret Hart Day. Never forget that.
And on that day, you should sharpshooter somebody if it's your brother, or if it's your nephew, or if it's just some newborn. You hit them with the sharpshooter and let them know that you're the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And if they don't tap out, just keep holding the hole, because eventually they all tap out to the sharpshooter. And if Bret Hart was to get in the ring with Hulk Hogan, and that's why Hulk Hogan did not want to get in the ring with Bret Hart, because he knew he would have got outclassed, outshined, and he would have had to tap brother.
That's why I ranked Bret ahead of Hogan. Come see me. I stand on that. So anyway.
And that is our top 5. We said all the links. I got an audio podcast as well. It is called the Big Pop Theory Podcast. You can catch us on Spotify. We talk about the week of wrestling and sometimes wrestling news. I'm constantly yelling and stuff like that, as I am doing here. And we hope that you guys are enjoyed right here. Unpopular Review. We're back with content almost every other day. So continue to follow us, and we got to just find that outro. Where is that damn outro? There is a... Damn, where's the outro? Do we have an outro? Can someone click the outro?
No ads. Oh, I was looking at the private chat. Mike said no ads.